As Ukraine fights to bring peace to conflict-ridden regions in its east, lawmakers in the capital have been waging a war to try to reclaim the country's past. On April 9th, the Ukrainian parliament passed a bill which bans communist and Nazi propaganda, as well as symbols. The ban applies to hundreds of monuments, millions of street signs, which will need to be replaced, and tons of documents, which will need to be processed. This operation is likely to prove costly to a country with a weak currency. Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko has not signed the law, but when he does, it will all have to be completed within 6 months. In the eastern town of Kramatorsk in the Donetsk region, a monument to Soviet leader Vladimir Lenin was toppled to the ground on April 18th, amid cheers and celebrations by demonstrators. A second Lenin statue was felled on April 21st. These are the kind of remnants of the Soviet legacy the Ukrainian government is trying to scrap. The bill's advocates also say that the Soviet-era symbols are a source of tension in the country. In Ukraine's east, government troops are fighting against Russian-backed militants who are known to identify with the hammers and sickles of the Soviet Union, then Ukraine's Golden Trident.
What this law demands is the removal of a great number of Soviet symbols that still arrogantly remain standing in Ukrainian cities. Consider this, that the war is going on in the very places where the Lenin monuments remain standing. Starting from Crimea to Donbass, there are good reasons why the residents of Kramatorsk, which briefly was under occupation, knocked down this Lenin statue.
Despite Russia accusing Ukraine of attempting to wipe out the country's memory, the bill's authors said that the museums and veterans would not be affected by the new law.
This law does not affect veterans. There are special exceptions in the law allowing them to wear their medals. The law also does not affect academies and museums. It all can be displayed for people to learn from and to preserve the memory of how this disaster became possible.
Supporters of the ban, like Pavlo, a Kiev resident who's an engineer, say the government's removal of monuments should be carried out responsibly.
I support such a ban, but it has to be well thought through, so it won't look like a destruction of memory, like rewriting of the history. It has to be done concertedly.
Ukraine's move to distance itself from the Soviet Union follows in the footsteps of many other former republics, which passed similar laws such as Poland, Georgia, Latvia, and Lithuania.